Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Chapter 7, Mudbloods and Murmurs. Ah, said Flint, but I've got a specially signed note here from Professor Snape. I, Professor Snape, give the Slytherin team permission to practice today at the Quidditch pitch. I went into the sea to train their new seeker. You got a new seeker? Said Wood, distracted. Where? And from the side behind the 6 large figures before them came a 7th, smaller boy, smirking all over his pale, pointed face. It was Draco Malfoy. Aren't you Lucius Malfoy's son? Said Fred, looking at Malfoy with dislike. Funny you should have mentioned Draco's father, said Flint as the whole Slytherin team smiled still more broadly. Let me show you the generous gift he's made to the Slytherin team. All 7 of them held on the broomsticks. 7 highly polished, brand new handles, and 7 sets of fine gold lettering spelling the words Nimbus 2001. Gleamed under the Gryffindors' noses in the early morning sun. Very latest model. Only came out last month, said Flint carelessly, flicking the speck of dust from the end of his own. I believe it outstrips the old 2000 series by a considerable amount. As for the old clean sweeps, he smiled nastily at Fred and George, who were both clutching clean sweep 5s. Sweeps the board with them. None of the Gryffindor team could think of anything to say for a moment. Malfoy was smirking so broadly his cold eyes were reduced to slits. Oh, look, said Flint. A pitch invention. Ron and Hermione were crossing the grass to see what was going on. What's happening? Ron asked Harry. Why aren't you playing? And what's he doing here? He was looking at Malfoy tucking in his Slytherin Quidditch ropes. I'm the new Slytherin Seeker, Weasley, said Malfoy smugly. Everyone must have been admiring the brooms my father brought our team. Ron gasped a month as the 7th super broomstick in front of him. Good, aren't they? Said Malfoy smoothly. But perhaps the Gryffindor team will be able to raise some gold and the new brooms too. The gravel of those clean sweep 5s, I expect a museum would bid of them. The Slytherin team howled with laughter. At least no one of the Gryffindor team had to buy the way in, said Hermione sharply. They got in pure talent. The smug look on Malfoy's face flickered. No one asked your opinion, you filthy little mudblood, he spat. Haven't you heard once Malfoy had said something really bad because there was an instant of throat at his words. Flynn had to get in front of Malfoy to stop Fred and George jumping on him. Alicia shrieked. How dare you? And Ron plunked his hands into these ropes, pulled out his wand, yelling. You'll pay for that one, Malfoy! And pointed it fiercely under Phil's arms and Malfoy's face. A loud bang echoed around the stadium and a jet of green light shot out of the wrong end of Ron's wand, hitting him in the stomach and sending him reeling backwards into the grass. Ron, are you all right? Squealed Hermione. Ron opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, he gave an unmighty batch, and several slugs dribbled out of his mouth onto his lap. The Slytherin team were paralyzed with laughter. Flynn was doubled up, hanging on to his new broomstick for support. Malfoy was on all fours, banging the ground with his fist. The Gryffindors were gathered around Ron, who kept benching large, glistening slugs. Nobody seemed to want to touch him. We'd better get him to Hagrid's, it's nearest, said Harry to Hermione, who nodded bravely as the pair of them pulled Ron up by the arms. What happened, Harry? What happened? Is he ill? But you can't cure him, can't you? Colin had down Ron from his seat and now was dancing alongside them as they left the beach. Ron gave a huge heave and more slugs dribbled down on his front. Oh, said Colin, fascinated and raising his camera. Can you hold him still, Harry? Get out of the way, Colin, said Harry angrily. He and Hermione supported Ron out to the stadium and across the grounds, towards the edge of the forest. Nearly there, said Hermione, as the gamekeeper's cabin came into view. You'll be all right in a minute. Almost there. They were within 20 feet of the Hagrid's house, where the front door opened, but it wasn't Hagrid who emerged. Gilderoy Lockhart, wearing robes of fellest mauve today, came streaking out. Quick, behind here, Harry hissed, dragging Ron in behind an early bush. Hermione followed somewhat reluctantly. It's a simple matter if you know what you're doing, Lockhart was saying loudly to Hagrid. If you need help, you know what I am. I'll let you have a copy of my book. I'm surprised you haven't got a read on now. I'll sign one tonight and send it over. Well, goodbye. As he strode away towards the castle, Harry waited until the lockers was out of sight, then pulled Ron out of the bush and up to Hagrid's front door. They knocked urgently. Hagrid appeared at once, looking very grumpy, but his expression brightened when he saw who it was. Been wondering when you'd come to see me. Come in, come in. Though you might have been Professor Lockhart back again. Harry and Hermione supported Ron over the threshold into the all-one-roomed cabin, which had an enormous bed in one corner, a file cracking merrily in another. Hagrid didn't seem perturbed by Ron's slug problem, which Harry hastily explained as he lowered Ron into a chair. Better out than in, he said chiefly, forking a large copper basin in front of him. Get 'em all up, Ron. I don't think there's anything to do except wait for it to stop, said Hermione anxiously, watching Ron bend over the basin. It's so difficult to curse to walk at the best of times, but with broken wand, Hagrid was bustling around and making them tea. His boarhound Fang was summering over Harry. What do Loco want with you, Hagrid? Harry asked, stretching Fang's ears. Giving me advice on getting Calpulus out of the well, growled Hagrid, moving a half-plucked rooster off his cubed table and setting down the teapot. Look, I don't know, and bang it out about some bashy he banished. If the worst of it was true, I'll eat my kettle. It was most unlike Hagrid to criticize a Hogwarts teacher, and Harry looked at him in surprise. Hermione, however, said in a voice somewhat higher than usual, I think you're being a bit unfair. Professor Dumbledore obviously thought he was the best man for the job. He was the only man for the job, said Hagrid, offering them a plate of treacle toffee, which Ron carved specially into his basin. I mean the only one. Getting very difficult to find anyone for the dark arts job. They're all too keen to take care on tea. He's starting to think it's jinxed. No one lasted along for a while now. So tell me, said Hagrid, jerking his head at Ron, who was he trying to kiss? Malfoy called Hermione something. It must have been really bad because everyone went mad. It was bad, said Ron hoarsely, emerging over the tabletop, looking pale and sweaty. Malfoy called her Mudblood, Hagrid. Ron died out of sight again, and a fresh wave of slugs made their appearance. Hagrid looked outraged. He didn't, he growled at Hermione. He did, she said. But I don't know what it means. I could tell it was really rude, of course. It was the most insulting thing I could think of, gasped Ron, coming back up. Mudbloods is a really full name for someone who was muggle-born, you know, not magic parents. Here are some wizards like Malfoy's family who think they're better than everyone else because they are what people call pure blood. He gave a small burp and a single slug fell into his outstretched hand. He threw it into the basin and contained it. I mean, the rest of us know it doesn't make any difference at all. Look at Neville Longbottom. He's pure blood and he can hardly stand a cold run on the right way up. They haven't invented a spell out Hermione can do, said Hagrid proudly, making Hermione go a brilliant shade of magenta. It's a disgusting hint to call someone, said Ron, wiping his flattered brow with shaking hand. The dirty blood, see? Common blood, it's mad. Most wizards these days are half-blood anyway. If we hadn't married muggles, we'd die out. He retrenched and ducked out of sight again. Well, I don't blame you to trying to curse him, Ron, said Harry loudly over the thoughts of more slugs hitting the basin. But maybe it was a good thing to want backfired. Speculations Malfoy would come mashing up to school if you'd cursed his son. At least you're not in trouble. Harry would have pointed out that rope didn't come much worse than having slugs pouring out of your mouth, but he couldn't. Hagrid's treacle toffee had cemented his jaws together. Harry, said Hagrid suddenly, as though struck by a sudden thought. You got a bone to pick with ya? I've heard you've been giving out signed photos. How come I haven't got one? First, Harry wrenched his teeth apart. I have not been giving out signed photos, he said hotly. If Lockhart is still putting about... But then I saw that Hagrid was laughing. I'm only joking, he said, patting Harry gently on the back and setting him face first into the table. I know you hadn't really told Lockhart you didn't need to. You're more famous than him without trying. But he didn't like that, said Harry, sitting up and rubbing his chin. I don't think it is, said Harry, his eyes twinkling. And then I told him I'd never read one of his books and decided to let go. Trickle Taffy, Ron? He added as Ron repeated. No thanks, said Ron weakly, but I don't risk it.